What? Who the hell told you? Hey, it's Nick Digilio. That's me. Thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. You can subscribe. Also, help me out on Patreon. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Subscribe. Donate some dough. Helps me to keep the videos going. You'll get exclusive content that only patrons get. So throw a little dough that way, and you'll get exclusive content and all kinds of other cool stuff. So go to patreon.com/NickDShow and give a little dough right now. My podcast posts every Tuesday and Friday, brand new episodes. I'm part of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. It's the Nick D Podcast, coming to you twice a week, and having a great time doing that. So subscribe to the podcast, radiomisfits.com, or anywhere you get your podcasts. So I was watching Dune again for, I guess, the seventh time, I think. Yeah, seventh time. I saw it 5 times in the theater, and then seventh time. Yeah, one time on HBO Max, and now I've got it digitally now, so I watch it again, and so I've seen it now 7 times. And as I was watching it, I was realizing how much. Well, first of all, it's fucking great. It's great, and if you're a fan of Dune, the books, if you're a fan of Frank Herbert, they finally got it right. Denis finally made the movie that we've all been waiting for, at least the first half of the first book that we've all been waiting for. It's a dream come true if you're a Dune fan. One of the very best movies of last year, and it was everything that I had hoped it would be and more. The cast is incredible. Everything about it is incredible. The way the story is told, the faithfulness to the tone and the style and the story of the book, the incredible cinematography, the special effects, the performances, the score is unbelievable. Everything about it is great, including, as I mentioned, the cast. And it's a huge cast with great performances all the way around. But the performance that I love the most... Here's how good Dune is. I like Jason Momoa in it. And I fucking hate Jason Momoa. I hate Jason Momoa. He has as much charm as this pen. This pen is more charming than Jason Momoa. And has more talent than Jason Momoa. He sucks. He's terrible. I can't stand Jason Momoa. But he's terrific in Dune. I don't know how the hell it happened. I think I know how it happened, because Denis told him what to do and told him where to stand and what to say and how to say it. That's how it worked. But Duncan Idaho, which is a great character in the books, that's how good Dune is. Jason Momoa does not suck in it. That's how good it is. But Javier Bardem's got a supporting role in it. He plays Stilgar, who is one of the leaders of the Fremen. And he's so good in it. It's a small role. He'll have a bigger role in the second. His role is much bigger in the second movie. It will be in part 2. But he's got a small role, and he basically steals every scene he's in. Javier Bardem is great in it. And that got me to thinking about supporting actors or supporting actresses who basically steal the movie from the leads. So great supporting performances that basically steal every scene they're in. Javier Bardem in Dune is one of them. And I have 5 that I really pick as ones that I think really stand out. So here are some great supporting performances that steal the movie, or actors or actresses who come in, basically own every scene they're in a movie. And I'm sure that there are tons that you have. Leave your comments here. Leave them on my Patreon page when you donate on my Patreon page, which I hope you do, patreon.com/NickDShow. Donate today. And leave your comments on supporting performances or actors or actresses who have small roles but come in and steal every scene they're in the movie. Like Leonardo DiCaprio in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. This was not the first time I had seen Leonardo DiCaprio. It was very early in his career. First time I saw him was This Boy's Life with Robert De Niro, where he was basically the lead in that movie. But he got himself an Oscar nomination for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. He's tremendous in that movie. It's a great performance. We all know DiCaprio is now considered one of the best actors, of all time. Consistently good, does really great quality work. And this was very early in his career, and he was amazing in it. And he steals every scene he's in. So DiCaprio in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Val Kilmer in Tombstone. Come on now. Val Kilmer owns that movie. He's the best thing in it. Tombstone is a movie that, I got to say this, I'll be honest with you. The first time I saw Tombstone, I didn't like it. I was like, I didn't like Wyatt Earp either. They both came out at the same time. They were the competing Wyatt Earp movies. Kevin Costner's pretentious piece of shit. Lawrence Kasdan directed. It's 10 hours long. I think the screening that I went to when it first opened, I think it's still running. I think it's still going now. That's how fucking long that movie is. But Tombstone was clearly the better, but I didn't like it very much. Wasn't until I saw it like a year later on cable that I started to like it. Now I love it. Tombstone is awesome. And you can't go wrong with the cast. The cast is unbelievable. But the guy who stands out among, you know, a cast of like 30 terrific actors is Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's amazing in Tombstone. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. Matthew McConaughey in Wolf of Wall Street. He's in one scene. Steals the movie. One scene. And that was at that time when McConaughey had the Renaissance, the McConaissance, as they called it. Finally people in the world, you know, understood what I had already understood for many, many, many years already, that Matthew McConaughey was amazing. He did all those stupid rom-com movies, but every time he made a rom-com movie, in my heart I was like, it's only going to take time before this guy stops making these shitty rom-coms and jumps back into what he should be doing, which is acting terrifically. He's great in Wolf of Wall Street. One of the few things I liked about that movie. I don't like Wolf of Wall Street. Oh, wait a minute. I think I'm going to sneeze. Wait. No COVID. Anyway, so he's great in that. And that was right around the time he did Dallas Buyers Club. And then, you know, like about half a year later, True Detective. It was during that time. But he's got, you know, he's basically in one scene of Wolf of Wall Street, and which is a movie that I don't like, but he steals it. He totally steals it. Tom Hardy in Inception. Again, 8 million people in that movie. And that movie's really not about performances, although everybody in it is really good. You know, DiCaprio's fantastic in that movie. And the performances are all strong, but it's not a performance-driven movie. It's a concept movie, obviously. But I gotta say, the performance by Tom Hardy, he steals the movie. He's charming, he's funny, action-packed, really clever, really cool. It's a great performance, and he basically steals it from all the other actors. Alec Baldwin, Glengarry Glen Ross. Glengarry Glen Ross, obviously that monologue that Alec Baldwin does, the whole coffee is for closers. You know, you see this watch. You know, that whole thing was not written. It's not in the original play, the David Mamet original play. Mamet wrote that part just for the movie. Alec Baldwin again comes in, does one thing, and it's become this iconic pop culture, you know, thing that everybody quotes. All guys quote it, and it is one of those come in, kick ass, leave roles. So Alec Baldwin, Glengarry Glen Ross, amazing. Viola Davis in Doubt. She's essentially in one scene, and she's amazing in it. Steals the movie from Amy Adams, Meryl Streep, Philip Seymour Hoffman. You know, a movie with heavyweight actors and actresses. And this was when Viola Davis wasn't as well known as she is now, and wasn't as award-winning as she is now. This was one of her first film roles, and she came in basically, again, like one scene, just comes in and fucking kills it. So Viola Davis in Doubt steals the whole thing. Chloe Grace Moretz in Kick-Ass. Both Kick-Ass movies. She's the best thing in both of the movies. I like the first one. Actually, I'm a big fan of the first one. Second one, not so much. But she kicks ass in Kick-Ass. Steals the movie. I mean, that was when people were like, who is this little girl? Oh, my God. And then she would just go on to do more interesting and more cool work. And now, you know, well-known actress. We've watched her grow up before our very eyes. And she, like, right out of the gate in Kick-Ass, every single scene in Kick-Ass, she's amazing in it. Chloe Grace Moretz in Kick-Ass. Unbelievable. Mark Wahlberg in The Departed. Alec Baldwin in The Departed too, but Mark Wahlberg rules in The Departed. And again, another Scorsese movie with, you know, I mean, the cast is ridiculous. There's like 20 amazing actors and actresses in that movie who are given really juicy, great roles and have a lot of fun with it. And in that, you know, the many supporting roles that are scattered throughout The Departed, it's Mark Wahlberg who pretty much stands out. Wahlberg is hilarious. He's a tough guy. He's funny. Obviously, Boston accent got it down. So Alec Baldwin is great too, but it's Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg pretty much owns every scene he's in The Departed. Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. I think this one goes without saying. He won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor that year. And, Harrison Ford's fine in it, whatever. But the movie belongs to Tommy Lee Jones. I mean, obviously it did, because they gave him an offshoot. They gave him like a spin-off movie, U.S. Marshals, where he was the lead. Wasn't a very good movie. The sequel wasn't a very good movie. But that character completely leapt out. Tommy Lee Jones owned The Fugitive. He was great, won the Academy Award. But it's one of those clear examples of a supporting actor stealing the movie from the lead. And then let me get into my favorite. I have 5 of them. Okay, my 5 favorites. I guess I'll put them in order. Let's start with Alfred Molina in Boogie Nights. Like Magnolia, Boogie Nights is loaded with incredible performances because it's a very long movie, and there's like tons of great actors and character actresses and actresses in it. And in Magnolia, everybody is great in it, and some of the supporting performances in Magnolia kind of like, I personally, Louis Guzman as Louis Guzman in Magnolia, he might be like one of my favorite like small performances. But Alfred Molina is in one scene in Boogie Nights, and it's a legendary scene, a classic scene, where John C. Reilly and Thomas Jane and Mark Wahlberg show up to make a coke deal with this maniac drug dealer, lunatic, played by Alfred Molina, and it's the My Awesome Mixtape, Sister Christian Never Sounds the Same, Jesse's Girl. Anyway, we know the scene. It's this incredibly intense, long sequence that the tension is ratcheted up to, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's at a 20. And it's also hilarious. And Alfred Molina is just both terrifying and fucking hilarious and weird and awesome in that scene. So Alfred Molina in Boogie Nights would be my number 5. As far as like small roles, one scene, or small roles that, that steal the rest of the movie. Let's see, William Hurt in A History of Violence. A great film. A truly, truly magnificent movie. The best movie of that year. David Cronenberg, who continues to make incredible movies, one of the greatest filmmakers that's ever lived. Viggo Mortensen, fantastic in it. It's a great movie, but man, William Hurt. Brohim. Hey, Brohim. The weird accent. He's only in like 2 scenes in the movie. William Hurt, he got an Oscar nomination for it. He fucking steals every scene he's in. And that's hard to do in a movie of that caliber. Like the kind of quality that David Cronenberg brings to films. You don't find that very often because he's like a once-in-a-lifetime great filmmaker. And History of Violence is a great film, but man, William Hurt. Hey, Brohim, it's just fucking great. It might be my favorite William Hurt performance of all time. Seriously. And it's not, he's in like 2 scenes in the movie. But it might be my favorite William Hurt performance of all time. History of Violence, William Hurt, number 4. Number 3, Ned Beatty in Network. Come on now, he's in one scene. He's got one of the greatest monologues. Patty Chayefsky's screenplay for Network. Network, one of the greatest, most perfect screenplays of all time. Incredibly well directed by Sidney Lumet. Again, dozens of amazing actors and actresses kicking monster ass in it. Great supporting. Beatrice Straight got an Oscar nomination for it. She's in one scene. Everybody from the top to the bottom of that movie does amazing work. But Ned Beatty has one scene and one gorgeous, insane, brilliant, completely off the charts monologue that Ned Beatty delivers, and he is like amazing in that movie. Ned Beatty in Network. All right. So now we're getting up to the top 2. Okay, and I'm having a hard time picking between which one. So number 5 would be Alfred Molina in Boogie Nights. Number 4 was William Hurt. Number 3 was Ned Beatty. So number 2. All right, I'm going to go with Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. Now this is my number 1 choice, and this one would be neck and neck. Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder is fucking spectacular. It is an incredible performance. He's fucking hilarious in that movie. As the asshole, bald, fat, hairy-knuckled Hollywood executive, terrifying, funny, ridiculous Hollywood executive who likes to bully people and get shit done and dance. It's a role. He steals the entire movie. Now, look, Tropic Thunder is a funny movie. It really is. And I'm not a huge Ben Stiller fan as a filmmaker. Not so much. But that movie's funny. It has a lot of great stuff in it. Everybody talks about Robert Downey Jr. in that movie. And yes, Robert Downey Jr. is brilliant, and he's very funny in it. And Robert Downey Jr. is, I will say, he's great. He got an Oscar nomination for it. That was the big Robert Downey Jr. comeback year, because Iron Man came out the same year, and that was when he got his shit together. Good for him. Great story. Awesome. Tom Cruise owns Tropic Thunder. He owns it. He's the best part of the movie. It is by far the most surprising performance in that movie. I happen to be a huge Tom Cruise fan. A lot of people are like, wow, where did that performance come from? Well, it came from Tom Cruise, because he's a fucking great actor. That's how it came. I love Tom Cruise. I love him. He's a terrific actor, a smart producer, and I love Tom Cruise. Incredibly talented actor, great actor, and he's fucking hilarious in Tropic Thunder. Absolutely hilarious. Steals the entire movie. Everybody talks about Robert Downey Jr. No. Best performance in Tropic Thunder is not Robert Downey Jr. No. Not even close. Tom Cruise, Tropic Thunder. Okay, so number one. I've got to go number one, supporting performance, smaller role that steals the entire movie. And in this case, kind of becomes the heart and soul of the entire movie. I got to go. My number one favorite in this category would be Brittany Murphy in Clueless. Just a beautiful performance. Just beautiful and charming and lovely and just heartbreaking and incredible. I fell in love with her when I saw Clueless completely, and became the biggest Brittany Murphy fan that you could possibly imagine. I love her in everything. Destroyed by what happened to her in real life. The fact that she died so young under such weird and mysterious circumstances. It's a tragedy that someone that good and that talented had such a really screwed up personal life, and her self-image was so bad, and how she changed her image, her body, and her looks, and her personality to go along with what should have been happening at that time in the mid-2000s, early to mid-2000s, when it was all like, you know, your Paris Hiltons and your Lindsay Lohans and all that stuff. The TMZ stuff like really took off, and Britney Spears shaving her head. It was all around that time period when Brittany Murphy started to change the way she looked and the way she acted. But you know, if you look at her in so many amazing films, and she was so great in so many of them. But Clueless was the first movie that I ever saw her in. I think it was her first movie. She was in the beauty pageant movie. Shit, and I can't remember the name of it. The beauty pageant movie with Ellen Barkin and Denise Richards. That came out afterwards. Anyway, but Brittany Murphy in Clueless, the performance, the character, everything about it was beautiful. I mean, just beautiful. She was the heart of that movie, the heart and soul of that movie. To watch the way, how charming and wonderful she was in that movie. Every line she delivered beautifully. She was funny, really funny, and natural. You loved that character. You rooted for that character. And it was, So for me, supporting performance that steals the movie, that steals the show, for me, number one is Brittany Murphy in Clueless. A truly special performance. And she is, without question, Brittany Murphy is the heart, the core, and the soul of Clueless. And again, it just adds to how sad it is what happened to her. But for my money, the best stealing the movie supporting performance, the supporting performance that becomes the key element, the most important part of the movie, Brittany Murphy in Clueless. God, she was so good in that. I love her in that movie. Every time I watch it, I still am so overwhelmingly charmed by her, and I fall in love with her all over again, you know, every single time I see it. So those are choices for great supporting performances, great little roles that basically steal from the leads and steal the movie in general. And I know there's a ton more, and that I'm missing. I didn't even mention Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jerry Maguire, how he won the Academy Award for that amazing supporting performance. There are so many more scenes, like even cameos that we can go into, where actors and actresses pop in for like one scene, do a little cameo, sometimes uncredited, and they steal the entire movie, or they're really terrific. But those are my choices for great supporting roles that steal the movie. What do you think? Leave your comments here on the YouTube channel. Leave them on my Patreon page, and please donate at patreon.com/NickDShow. And I'll talk to you soon, and enjoy the veal. All right? So supporting performances, what do you think?